following shows mutualism? Is it A, B, C, or D? I do hope yung mga may ka-MU dyan, alam mo yung sagot dito. Please follow, guys, the mentioned format for us to be informed if for what particular question yung answer po ninyo. Okay? So, the correct, nagkagulo na sa ating comment box. So, let me reveal the answer to question number 5. It is letter D, Carabao and Egret. So, who among you is currently residing in province? I hope familiar kayo kung ano yung Egret, ha? So, for number 5, the relationship between a Carabao and an Egret is actually an example of mutualism. So when we talk about mutualism, that's MU, meaning to say both of you are understanding each other. But for the sake of symbiotic relationship, guys, mutualism means both are benefiting. So for this one, Egret, the white bird in here, is actually feeding on the Carabao ticks. So the egret has a stable food source, while the Carabao, of course, will have the pest control because the ticks are actually being eaten by the egret. So that's win-win situation. Now, that's an example of mutualism. And since we are already in the talk of Carabao, let me just have a short trivia. Insert ko lang. The Carabao lookalike Tamarao, which is known as the dwarf buffalo, is actually an endemic species to the Philippines, and it can only be seen in Mindoro Islands. So it is said to be endemic, but it is now critically endangered, meaning to say if this species goes extinct, we will no longer have the pleasure of seeing these. So that's for Tamarao, dwarf buffalo. Next, let's talk about the other mentioned options, and then let us categorize what kind of relationship they exhibit. So for the first option we have, that's a human body and then a body loosed, or the lice, yung kuto, ang makating kuto. So, what do you think is the relationship between these two? So based on the image, that's an example of parasitism. So very good, Ma'am Jessica. So one is actually benefited, and for this case, that's the body loosed, and then the one being harmed is the human body because the body loose sucks the blood of the human. So body lice infestation can actually lead to pediculosis, or having the symptoms of skin rashes and itchiness, which can, in worst cases, can lead to typhus and trench fever. So wag nating hayaan yung mga kids na ma-infest ng head lice and body lice. Next, for the moss on the tree trunk, that is an example of what relationship? Very good again, Ma'am Jessica. That's commensalism. So one is benefited. So in this case, that's the moss, while the other one, the tree trunk, is neither harmed nor benefited. So neutral lang, lampake, poker face, ganon. So that's for commensalism. And next we have rice and rice weeds. What do you think is the relationship? Very good. Ayan, mukhang magtatap na si Ma'am Jessica. We have competition. So competition arises when there is presence of limited resources. So in this scenario, we have the rice and then the weeds competing for the limited resources that they are getting from the soil or the available nutrients. And later on, if the weeds are actually, if they have grown taller than the rice plants, they will have more exposure to sunlight. So if that will happen, our farmers will have to, of course, make use of pesticides to kill these rice weeds. Lastly, we have, in this kind of situation, we have the lions eating a certain animal. That's predation. Thank you so much, Sir Emmanuel. So that's predation. And most of the time, one is really being eaten and will lead to eventual death. So in this one, we have the presence of the predator and then the prey. The one being eaten is the prey, while predator is the one that eats the other organism. So it's actually somewhat harsh kind of relationship, but it is actually important in the balance in the ecosystem, because with the presence of the predators, we can actually regulate the population of prey. So those are the examples of symbiotic relationships that we have. Now, let's try to answer 4 items regarding symbiotic relationship. So number 1, man hunting ducks. So ducks po, pato. So for this case, the man will hunt ducks for the sake of food. So the hunted ducks will, very good, it's a form of predation. So the hunted ducks will be cooked as food for the man. So that's man eating ducks. Second, we have sea anemone and clownfish. So what do you think is the relationship? Very good, Sir Emmanuel. So that is mutualism. So the sea anemone actually provides protection and shelter to the clownfish or our Nemo. Yes, while the clownfish actually provides nutrients and food to the sea anemone in the form of its waste. Yes po. So both are win-win situation. Number 3, mango tree and avocado tree in your backyard. What type? Very good po. It is competition, because the trees will have to compete for the limited nutrients coming from the soil in your backyard. Very good. And lastly, we have the lichen. What do you think is the relationship? So lichen, guys, it's a combination of an algae and fungus. So what do you think is the relationship? Parasitism, nice try. Sir Marvin, commensalism, not quite. So for lichen, guys, it's actually mutualism. Mutualism in the sense that the algae, which is actually a producer, it provides food for the fungus. And on the other hand, the fungus will help the algae for better water absorption. So that's still mutualism. Yes, so that's mutualism. So those are the symbiotic relationships in our ecosystem. Right now, can you think of your relationship with other members of the ecosystem? Sige, pag-isipan nyo. Now, before we move on to question number 6, can we just have a short recap of the scores? Who is still perfect? 5/5? Sige, please type in your scores so far out of the 5 questions. My 4/5, 5/5, 2/5. Thank you so much, Sir Warren. So at least you are aware of your scores, and at the end of the day, what is important is that you are learning. So let's proceed with question number 6. For question number 6, grade 10 pupils of Miss Hortpilia were listening to a discussion of 7 hours. Which R was applied by Urza when she decided to use her old toothbrush to clean the window instead of throwing it away in the trash? Is it A, B, C, or D? Again, Ursa made use of her old toothbrush to not clean her teeth, but to clean the window. So, according to the 7 environmental sustainability, the correct answer here is, please do not forget to follow the instruction for your answer. Have the number and then the correct answer. So, the correct answer here is, that's letter D, reused. So yes, let's begin with reusing. So when we talk about reusing, it's more of like making DIYs. So instead of just throwing things, you are going to look for other purpose where you can use these old materials. So that is reusing, just like using the old toothbrush to clean the window or to clean your shoes. That's reusing. Next, the next one is, if you're going to reduce your carbon footprint, of course, definitely you are part of the reduce team. So you can decrease your carbon footprint by using reusable products. Or for example, you're going to Starbucks and then instead of using their plastic cups, you can make use of your own tumbler from Starbucks. Char. So that's for reducing. Next, if we are to say no, once again, saying no, meaning to say we are refusing. That is refusing. Refusing to use any kind of single-use plastics. And next, where you are going to think whether you need to buy refill products or unpacked products or those in sachet or Tetra Paks. That is an example of rethinking. You will going to think what kind of consumer you want to be. So it can either be an environmental pro or advocate of sustainable environment, or you can be on the side of the people with much negligence. So it will be your choice. Next, replacing. So just like same with going away with the use of single-use plastics, that is a form of replacing. Next, when you're going to fix your broken part, no, fix the damaged appliances that you have so that you can use it again, that is a form of repair. Yes, you have to mend what needs to be mended. Hoy, ganon. So that's repair. And lastly, if you're going to, for example, make use of compost pit for your organic substances, yung mga nabubulok, that's a form of recycling. Other things that you can donate your plastic bottles in the trash bins sa mall, so that the company will be able to melt it and use it for other purpose. So that's recycling. So again, that's the 7 R's of environmental sustainability. I hope that's clear with you, because in previous times we just have the 3 R's, right? The reduce, reuse, and recycle. We also have the 3 R's in Prof Ed, the reading, arithmetic, and writing. But now we have the 7 R's for environmental sustainability. Next, number 7. Number 7, the question is, which of the following would be most likely to transmit sound the best? So it's a physics question. Again, it is somewhat like asking, sound travels fastest in what? So I'm now seeing different kind of answers. So to reveal, the correct answer for number 7 is, it's letter A, steel storage cabinet. So before we discussed why it is the correct answer, let me just remind you that sound or sound waves actually require a medium to propagate. So when we talk about medium, it has particles that can vibrate. So for option D, a while ago, for option D, we have the outer space. Please take note that outer space is like a huge vacuum, meaning to say it's a void, it is emptiness. So inside a vacuum, there is no particle present, so there will be no vibration. And therefore, sound cannot travel. So we're left with A, B, and C options, right? So based on this image and their corresponding speed, are you now convinced that the sound travels fastest in the steel storage cabinet? Please hit the react button, available react buttons on your end. Yes, definitely based on these pictures and then the corresponding speed of sound in the different medium, sound travels fastest in solids like the steel storage cabinet, while it travels slowest in gas medium, just like the air available inside the classroom. So please take note, guys, that this is the speed of sound at constant temperature, which is 20 degrees Celsius. Okay? All right, I hope that's clear with you guys. Question number 8. When you place a cube of ice in your palm, heat flows from, is it A, from your palm to the ice, B, from the ice to your palm, letter C, simultaneously, or letter D, from ice to the environment? Please type in your answers. I'm once again seeing different answers from you guys. So, the correct answer for number 8, it's letter A. So please, are you aware of the song, "'Cause you're hot and you're cold"? Okay, na bahala magtuloy nun. So, yes, please remember that verse in the song, because heat flows always from hot to cold. So based on the image, guys, we have in here a palms and then of course ice cube. So we can say that the hotter or warmer region is the palm, while the colder region is the ice cube. So therefore, heat will move from your palm going to the ice cube, which will eventually melt the ice. So that's the heat flow. Again, hot to cold. Now, since we are already in the discussion of heat flow, allow me to remind you of the modes of heat transfer. Paano ba napapasa ang init ng ulo? Char. No, that's different. So for the modes of heat transfer, we have actually 3. First is conduction. With the letter D from the conduction, that's direct contact, just like what is demonstrated in the question, ice and palm. Next, we have convection. Convection, guys, it pertains to the heat flow involving liquids and gases. And then for third one, we have radiation. Coming from majority, we have EM waves, just like the radiation we are getting or the solar energy we are getting from the sun. So it's a form of radiation. I hope that's clear. Let's proceed with number 9.
SI stands for System International. It's actually called International System, but it originated from France kasi.
Number 3, learning experiences or experiences. And then number 4, curriculum evaluation or evaluation. Our mode of instruction is supposed to be delivered in English. But once you start teaching it in basic education, it is taught in Filipino.
Darwin, you have to remember two important points. We have the origin of the species and then the theory of evolution by natural selection. What are the 7 fields? Now again, just remember, the fallen rocks make art.
Ang GTM is considered one of the oldest. Okay? It's one of the oldest and one of the most traditional language teaching method.
Ito po yung mga lumalabas sa general education. Ano po? Yung mga basic na kaalaman sa asignaturang Filipino.
So let's talk about a bit of history. So the Bronze Age ended when humans began to, is it A, B, C, or D? Bronze Age ended. A lot of you answered letter D, live in caves or nomads. Okay, so the correct answer here is, it is the forging of the iron metal. So when we talk about Bronze Age and then the Iron Age, it is actually included in the bracket of the Metal Age. So prior to the Metal Age, we have prior to the Metal Age, guys, we have the Stone Age, namely Paleolithic, Neolithic, Paleo, Meso, and Neo. So following that, we have Metal Ages. So for Metal Ages, actually, it started with prehistoric people using copper. So they made use of copper in exchange of these stone tools that they've made. Please take note, guys, for Stone Age, one characteristic is the being a nomad. Yes. So people from the Stone Age are actually nomads. So they live from places to places. Now for the Metal Age, after copper, they were able to add tin to copper to produce bronze, which is, in comparison to copper, it is way durable and having better strength compared to copper. So again, bronze, that's combination of copper and tin. And after bronze, we have iron. So during this time, class, please remember that iron was basically used for warfares and paraphernalias. Meaning to say, a lot of, after the after the discovery of iron, primarily with it being used in creation of armors and shields, we have the occurrence of several wars. The different wars established by the different fighting kingdoms. So that's the Metal Age. Now, just a brief review of this one. When we talk about prehistoric class, it means to say these are the events happened prior to the invention of writing. So my question is, what is the name of the first writing system? What do you call the first invented writing system? So, any idea? Hieroglyphics. A good guess. In what country? Right now, it is located in Iraq. Very good, Sergio. Yes, it Yes, it is. Very good. The correct answer here is cuneiform, invented by the Sumerians, part of the Mesopotamian region. So with the invention of writing, here comes the bracket of history, meaning to say all of the events are recorded via written documents. So in the history, we have the ancient, which included the rise of the civilizations like Sumerian, Babylonian, and for the hieroglyphics, as answered by one of the members of the group, it was actually invented by the Egyptians. Yes. Next, we have the Middle Ages. Please take note, it's the Dark Ages, characterized by the fall of the Roman Empire and the occurrence of the Black Death. Black Death is a bubonic plague that struck Asia and Europe, which actually caused by a bacterium Yersinia pestis. Next, we have modern times. Modern times range from 1501 to 1945. So imagine from the colonization of the Spaniards here in the Philippines up until the Japanese occupation, it is included in the modern period. And for present, we have the contemporary time. So that's for prehistory and history. Question number 10. Question number 10, let's go back to biology. Which is true of plant and animal cells? Is it A, B, C, or D? Now we're looking for the true statement. I want the truth, nothing but the truth. Wait. So, okay, you have varying answers again. Again, we're looking for the statement that is true. So the correct answer here, guys, it's letter C. Only plant cells have cell walls. So if you're going to examine the picture flash in your screen, so cell wall is actually an added layer for the plant cell. So it actually gives rigid structure to the cell.
Huwag na natin if may nag-letter si Malay mo wala. So,
Nag-letter si Joe.
Yes, nag-letter C po kayo. Okay, so going back, for the animal cell, we have only the cell membrane. So the cell wall for plant cell is made up of cellulose, the most abundant organic substance here on Earth. So that's cell wall. So other exclusive organelle in plant cell are vacuole. Primarily, it serves as storage, like for the storage of water. And we have the chloroplast, which actually houses the green pigment chlorophyll. Now, here to talk about animal cell, we have here the centriole. So for centriole, it is actually a participant for animal cell division because it can be used to determine the location of the nucleus of the cell. So that's for the difference between plant and animal cell. Again, plant cell only have, cell wall is only present in plant cell. So I hope that's already clear with you guys. So, score recap once more. After 10 items, can I see who's now leading the online quiz bee? Please share your score. Ayan, so parang nahihiya kayo mag-share ng score. Well, that's okay. What's important, once more, I would like to reiterate that you are learning. So from our mistakes, we are learning. Ganyan din naman ako nung ako ay nag-review. So, question number 11. Why do mothballs disappear over time? Ayan, may nagsagot agad. Is it A, B, C, or D? Can you please raise your hand if you are still using mothballs? Ito po yung naphthalina. Sabi ng mga matatanda. Ayan. Okay, so mga RK na po pala kayo, hindi na kayo gumagamit ng mothballs. Yes po, Sir Marvel. Yung nilalagay po sa aparador. Para hindi amoy bugs yung mga damit natin. So that is mothball or the naphthalene. So the correct answer here, it is sublimation. So this is an example of a mothball po. Yan, yung bug off, which is naphthalene balls. So actually, ginagamit siya for aparador, and if you will open the packaging and you will let it open for some time, you will notice that the balls are actually getting smaller and smaller until such time na wala na talaga sila, para kanyang ginost. So what happens here is the process of sublimation. So from the terms there, we have solid with an S, gas with an S, so that's sublimation. So from solid going to gas without going to change from liquid first. So that's directly solid to gas na. Now, aside from sublimation class, we have several other processes involved in phase change. So guys, we have 5 states of matter, We have solid, liquid, and gas, but we also have plasma and Bose-Einstein condensate. But for the sake of the phase change, to make it simple, let's just use 3: the solid, liquid, and gas. So for you to better understand the different processes, let's have examples. So for the first one, let's take, for example, that you have a glass filled with liquid water. So among the 3 states, where are we going to place the liquid water? Please type in your answer. Saan natin siya ilalagay? Will it be in solid, liquid, or gas? Okay, sige, ako muna. The glass filled with liquid water will be placed in the liquid state. Now, if you decided to place it inside your refrigerator, what will happen after? The water will turn into what state? Will it be solid or gas? Very good. It will be solid. Now, the process involved is called, that would be freezing. Very good. Because you've made use of a refrigerator with freezer. Yan, yayamanin. Okay? So that's for item number 1. So if it is the reverse, from solid to liquid, it will be melting. Number 2, suppose that you have a dry ice. So when we talk about dry ice, hindi siya tuyot na yelo ha. It is actually a frozen carbon dioxide. So what state do you think? Is it solid, liquid, or gas? Yung dry ice. Saang state ang dry ice? So I've been saying gas, pero may nakita ko kaninang solid. And yes, ma'am, kung sino ka mang sumagot, it is solid. So, for example, you are to you have this dry ice. Now, what will happen is later on, you were able to observe vapors from this spoon of dry ice. Saan na natin ilalagay yung vapors na nakikita natin? Kung nakikita yung vapor, for illustrative example, for example, yung parang smoke, saan natin siya ilalagay? Will it be liquid or gas? It is gas. Ayan, may sumagot na agad ng process. Very good. It will be sublimation. sublimation. So other than the naphthalene balls, pwede din po yung dry ice turning into vapor, a process of sublimation. Now, for example, you have boiling water and then yung usok, yung steam coming from it, we are to place it in the gaseous state. Now, if later on, these vapors will turn into clouds, saan natin ilalagay si cloud? Will it be solid or liquid? Take note, it's very good, ma'am Joanne. So that would be liquid. Very good. So that is the process called condensation. So that's for the phase change. For the reverse of condensation, please remember that's evaporation. For the reverse of sublimation, that's deposition. So I hope that's clear with you guys when it comes to phase change. Now, moving on to question number 12. Who among the following proposed the heliocentric theory? Is it A, B, C, or D? Again, heliocentric. Iba-iba na naman sila ng sagot. Okay. So for question number 12, guys, the correct answer here is, it's letter D, Nicholas Copernicus. So for heliocentric theory, please remember that is sun-centered. So the image shown is actually with Nicholas Copernicus, and then the heliocentric model. So in the past, prior to the scientific revolution, ang pinaniniwalaan is the geocentric theory, placing the Earth at the center of the universe. But there was a certain period in time wherein we have Aristarchus. He was actually the one who first proposed heliocentrism, but he was not able to defend it much because of the persecution and cancellation he received from the general public. Pero may naglakas loob after some time. We have Nicholas Copernicus, who further arranged the planets according to the increasing distance from the sun. So, of course, given that concept, we can say that he placed Mercury as the closest planet, while the Jovian planets like Jupiter are placed farthest to the sun. Okay? So that's for heliocentric theory. Again, I would just like to clear again the misconception. Before, they believed that the sun is the center of the universe. But as of today, it is actually at the center of just the solar system. So I hope that's clear with you. And the proposal of heliocentrism actually paved the way for the scientific revolution. That's why sometimes, if you are to encounter it in the board exam, scientific revolution is sometimes termed as Copernican revolution in honor of Nicholas Copernicus. So again, thank you so much for answering number 12. Let's proceed with, okay, so before I forgot, the other person mentioned here, we have Claudius Ptolemy and Aristotle. They are actually supporters of the geocentric theory, while Galileo Galilei actually helped in the proving of the heliocentric model. So, ayun po. Next, number 13. Kaya pa ba? Please hit the heart button if okay pa yung heart nyo. Ayan. So, mukhang hindi na okay yung heart. But then again, let's proceed. And champion number 13. What does a stick of unlit dynamite demonstrate? May nagpapalit na answer. But yeah, I'm again seeing different answers from you guys. So, The correct answer for number 13 is it's letter B, potential energy. So bago kayo mag-violent reaction dyan, let me give to you the keyword for the question. The keyword for the question is actually unlit. So just like shown in the picture, it is yet to be lighted. Hindi pa siya sinindihan. So if it is still not lighted, it is still a form of potential energy. So guys, there are lots of forms of energy, or sometimes they call it types of energies. But to avoid misconception, we have to first categorize them into two. So we have kinetic energy and potential energy. So given in the options a while ago, we have kinetic and we have potential, then we have nuclear and mechanical. So we cannot actually categorize it as a nuclear or mechanical energy, but most specifically, we can cross them out and we are just left with kinetic and potential. So ang most fitting answer talaga is potential because of the presence of the word unlit, meaning to say it is still stored or at rest. Meanwhile, for kinetic, of course, that's energy in motion. That's the simplest definition that you can give to kinetic and potential energy. Now, dito na tayo sa mas nakakalito. The types of energy. So, we have different types of energy, and it will all boil down to the law of conservation of energy, which states that energy can neither created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed from one type or form into other. So that is why the energy in the universe is constant, because it is just transforming from one kind to another kind. For example, we have in here a moving electric fan. So that is an energy transformation involving electrical energy going into mechanical energy. The next one is we have yung controversial na charging of phone using a power bank. So that is an energy transformation from chemical to electrical energy. So yun po, yung different types of energy and the transformations possible. So I hope that clears the the confusion when it comes to energies. Number 14. Suppose your mother sent you to the market to buy fruits and vegetables. Now, how would you choose good quality fruits and veggies? Will it be A, you just ask the vendor? Letter B, just get any kind? Letter C, you will examine? Or letter D, you'll tell your mother that you don't know how to buy these things? Apaka-spoiled ng batang ayon. So, number 14. Now, I've been seeing unity with your answer. So, the correct answer here is letter C. Yes, very good. So, we have to, of course, choose yung fresh. We have to consider the freshness of the goods that we are buying. And we can actually make use of inspection. So what we can inspect is just the outside, kasi hindi mo pwedeng buksan or balatan yung orange dun sa supermarket. What we can do is to just make inspection outside, or the outside appearance of the good. Now, we can make use of our senses. For example, just like what is the pictures showing, the girl is smelling the orange. So, by smelling it, you will have the hint of whether it is free from insecticide, or if it has traces of insecticide. Other kinds of things that you can do is you can touch. Pakiramdaman nyo kung meron mga bukol-bukol or mga uneven surfaces dun sa gulay or dun sa prutas na bibili nyo. And the other thing that you can do is, of course, look for any possible insect bites, specifically sa mga fruits. Pag sa mga vegetables, you can check for the wilting of the leaves of the veggies. So that's for number 14. Number 15, ayan. Number 15, gorilla, orangutan, and chimpanzee have similar characteristics because of that they are classified as A, monkeys, B, prey, C, primates, D, predators. You know what? Well, as I am seeing your answers po, nag-flashback yung season namin. So, madami nagsagot ng monkeys. Okay? So, sorry guys, pero hindi po siya monkey. The correct answer here is primates. Yes po. Primates po, bakit? Let us understand it. But let me just present to you. Charan! And, while you are making titig-titig of the picture, ayan. Nagkatitigan po ang apat na pogi. Ayan. So we have in here the chimpanzee, gorilla, and orangutan. May nakikita ba kayo? Nakamukha? Of course, meron. Buti na lang gabaya. Yes, same. Okay? So let us understand why primate is the answer instead of monkey. By understanding the biological taxonomy or the hierarchy of classification. We have the domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Or the Dear King Philip, come over for good spaghetti. And presenting to you the 5 fighters for tonight's event. Charan! We have the gorilla, the orangutan, chimpanzee, we have human. Yes, it's human po ha. And we have the monkey. Tuwang-tuwa ang ating monkey dyan. Okay? Salamat kayo. Hindi ko kayo kilala. Parang surprise lang ito. Kung hindi, ilalagay ko kayo dyan. Well, kidding aside, let's first talk about them regarding the biological taxonomy. So, what do you think is the domain for the 5 fighters? Alam niyo ba kung anong domain sila? Dominante? No, hindi po. The domain for the 5 fighters, domain po ba ang Animalia? Animalia is an example of kingdom. So for domain class, it is Eukarya, meaning to say these fighters are eukaryotes, meaning to say they are multicellular organisms. Ang cringe, nakikita ko yung mukha ko. Yes, multicellular organisms, meaning to say they have two nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. So lahat yan ha, eukarya. Now, for the kingdom, as you were answering a while ago, Animalia. Yes, including po ang humans, we are in the kingdom Animalia. Wala pong kingdom of humans. Wala pong ganun ha. It's kingdom Animalia. Now, for the phylum, what do you think? Are they still together or iba-iba na? Do you have any guess for the phylum of the fighters? Iba-iba? Well, the phylum po is still the same. Magkakasama pa rin po for the chordata. Chordata means that we have vertebral column or yung backbone po. So lahat ng yan may mga backbones kagaya ninyo. And for class is still the same. They are all mammalia, meaning to say they're considered mammals with mammary glands and of course fur. Yes. And for order, what do you think is the order? Ako po C1. Kung hindi, order po is it's still primates. So ito po, dito na po yes, very good, Ma'am Chloe, still primates. Meaning to say, that is the reason why we cannot answer monkey, because together with gorilla, orangutan, and chimpanzee, monkey is included in the order primates. Yes po. But we have the so-called group of great apes. Yes po, apes ha. Letter A-P-E-S, yes. And yung great apes po, ito ay kinabibilangan ng gorillas, orangutan, chimpanzee, and humans. Pero hindi kasama, hindi naman, nasa planet Earth pa rin po pala tayo, Sergio, ha? So, dun sa great apes po, it's actually a specialized group that is not including the monkey. So, hindi po sila kasama. Why? What do you think is the most unique or the thing na present sa monkey na hindi present sa atin? Ayan. Anong present sa inyo? Charot. Anong present sa monkey na wala tayo? Tayong mga tao. Palms? Yung pinakaunang makikita. Like kahit wala ka pang gagalawin or titignan sa monkey, kita-kita mo na yun eh. Ano yun? Facial features, yes. Can stand. So you have the idea, class, but to be more specific, grabe yung buhok. To be more specific, it is the presence of the tail. Bakit? May buntot ba kayo? Sabihan niyo ako kung may buntot kayo, ha? So, yes, having tails po. Yung mga monkeys, ayan, meron po silang buntot, pero tayo wala. But according to the theory of evolution, yung tailbone po natin dati ang buntot. Pero kasi hindi na natin siya nagagamit, so bigla na lang siyang, hindi naman bigla, but eventually nawala siya. So, that's one of the difference na meron tayong great apes sa monkey. So, I hope that's clear with you guys. So, proceed na natin dun sa family. Yung family po dito, hindi nakasama ang monkey. Walay na sila, ng ibang pamilya na siya. So, the 4 fighters are included in the family of Hominidae. But for monkeys po, it's actually Cercopithecidae. For genus, dito na, magkakaiba na syempre, alangan magkakapareho pa tayo. So, we have, for gorilla, of course, genus of gorilla. For orangutan, we have, I don't like to read it as pango, I will just read it pango. Pango for orangutan. And for chimpanzee, ayan. So yes, we have the genus for the chimpanzee. Ayan. Next, we have the genus for humans. We have, that is Homo. And for the monkeys, we have Erythrocebus. So for the species section po, ililib ko na po yan because maraming, under one genus po, we have several species. Like for example, for humans, we have the species of sapiens. So we are the Homo sapiens, but we have relatives under the Homo genus like the Homo habilis and Homo erectus. So, ayan po. I hope we're clear with gorilla, orangutan, and chimpanzee. And sana masaya kayo. Okay? So, let's proceed with number 16. Yes. Please type in your answer again. These transmit messages from the different parts of the body to the brain and vice versa. Ayan. So, the correct answer here is, thank you so much for typing in your answer. The correct answer here is letter B. Ayan. So, we are already given the keyword there, brain. So, ang nag-carry po ng signals are the neurons or the nerve cells. Now, let's talk about the structure of the neuron. Yes. So first and foremost, at the center of the neuron or the nerve cell is, of course, we have the nucleus. So the nucleus is actually the control center of the nerve cell, but the control center of the body is the brain. So every neuron meron po siyang nucleus din. Next, we have the body of the neuron itself. Yung malaking chunk or body ng neuron, that is the soma. Guys, can you please confirm if you can see the slides on your screen? Okay. Kasi baka napapatungan nung comments ninyo. Alright, thank you so much po for confirming, sir. So yes, soma is the cell body. Next is the marites. The mariteses of the neuron po that carry signal towards the nucleus of the cell. Synapse, that's the empty spaces. So, yung mga marites po are these are the dendrites. So, sila yung mga nagsasagap ng balita. And they are actually transmitting the signal towards the cell body. How about the part of the neuron that carries the signal away from the cell body? Again, away from the cell body, that is the axon. And if you are going to look into the axon po, silang nakikipag-interact to other neurons, mga nakikipag-chismisan sa other neurons. And if you're going to look at these axon, primarily, we have in here covering. So, covering. Now, for the axon, guys, the covering in here is called the myelin sheath. So, please take note, guys, that if the axon is covered with myelin sheath, it can better transmit signal. Meaning to say, mas mabilis niyang matatransmit yung signal compared to the unmyelinated axon. Next part in here is the node of Ranvier, which is, as denoted in the image, that's the spaces in the myelin sheath that is present. So, that's for the structure of the neuron. Other options given there, we have, of course, the gametes or the reproductive cells. Please take note of the sperm having this unique structure, the flagellum, that help in propelling the cell or the sperm cell. While the egg cell po, it's the biggest cell of the body. Next, we have the red blood cell. Primarily, it is a type of blood cell that carries primarily the hemoglobin or carries oxygen-rich blood. Yeah. And lastly, we have the osteoblast. Osteoblast is a bone cell that is primarily involved in the synthesis of new bones. So, okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you po. And number 17, which carries the oxygen-rich blood to the head, arms, chest, waist, and legs? Is it A, B, C, or D? Ayan. Iba-iba na naman. Okay. Please take note ha, carrier. So in the circulatory system, we have several organs involved. The pump, and then the carrier, and then of course, yung channel. So the correct answer here is it's letter C. Carries oxygen-rich blood flow po. Please take note that arteries away from the heart to the rest of the body. And it's denoted with color red because it carries oxygen-rich blood. Oxygen-rich blood, meaning to say red color yan because of the presence of the hemoglobin. Meanwhile, for veins po, they usually carry the oxygenated blood back to the heart. So, VV back to the heart. Yung capillaries po, sila yung nagko-connect from the larger blood vessels going to the organs, while the heart is the pumping organ of the circulatory system. Number 18. These are living things that use sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide to produce food. Is it A, B, C, or D? Okay, again. Yes, so the process involved in here is, the process involved here is photosynthesis performed by the autotrophs. Very good po. Letter A is the correct answer. So as you can see in the equation for photosynthesis, we have the reactants or the materials needed to conduct photosynthesis, which are carbon dioxide, water, and of course, the solar energy coming from the sun. And the producers or the autotrophs will produce glucose, an organic molecule that will serve as food for the consumers, and with the byproduct of oxygen. That is why it's very important that we are planting trees, because they are actually natural producers of oxygen that we actually need for respiration. And to be able to perform photosynthesis class, we need the presence of the green pigment chlorophyll. So it is located in the chloroplast of the plant cell. Okay, and number 19, in which layer does temperature increase with altitude due to the absorption of UVB? Is it A, B, C, or D? May ang bibilis magsagot. Okay, so the correct answer for number 19 is, okay, keep answering. The correct answer here is letter B. So we're now talking about the layers of the atmosphere. So primarily we have 4. In some books we have 5. In some books we have 6 because of the addition of ionosphere and exosphere. But for our discussion about temperature and altitude or the height, we're just going to compare the 4 layers. So the UVB in particular po, the one being asked in the question is the portion in the UV light that is with harmful effects to us humans. And this portion of the UV light is being absorbed in the ozone layer. Ayan po, yung ozone layer is located in the stratosphere. That is the answer. But majority of the radiation coming from the sun is already absorbed in the thermosphere. That's why in the thermosphere po, it has actually the highest temperature among the layers of the atmosphere. So if we are to look into here, ayan, so parang zigzag yung trend ng temperature and altitude of the layers of the atmosphere. So beginning from the bottom layer po, the troposphere, or where the weather conditions occur, the troposphere po, as you go higher in this layer, the temperature decreases. For example, when you go hiking, so if you're already at the peak of the mountain, feeling nyo sobrang lamig na. Because the temperature there is actually lower than at lower altitudes. So going into the stratosphere naman, it's the other way around. So if you go higher pa, the temperature will even go higher. Now for mesosphere, it's like the troposphere. Pag umangat ka, you will also experience decrease in temperature. And for thermosphere, it's like stratosphere. So it's like reversed or inverse relationship of temperature and altitude. Stratosphere direct, both are increasing. Mesosphere inverse, and for thermosphere, that's still direct. So I hope that's clear with you guys.
What does this button do?
20. What is the scientific name of horse? Tinanong to nung March. Is it letter A, B, C, or D? Ayan. So natanong din to sa Family Feud, related yung question. Sabi, if you are so good in horseback riding, what game in the Olympics are you supposed to join? Ayan. So ang games po sa Olympic ay equestrian. So with that hint, the correct answer for number 20 is letter A, Equus caballus. So ang friend nating horse, if you are to determine the scientific name po, we are particularly talking about the concept of binomial nomenclature. Binomial meaning to say two-part name. So yung two-part name natin, it will come from the genus taxon and then the species taxon. So for horse, we have Equus caballus. So in the other seasons po, lumabas din tinanong, yung mga previous seasons, we have the scientific name for humans, we have Homo sapiens. For the lion po, it is Panthera leo. And for the rice plant, it is Oryza sativa. So please take note of these things. And if you still have so many MBs left in your brain, might as well remember other scientific names. Yes. And okay, so I think for the last item, we can go with 21 before we wrap up. So what is the process by which plants lose water through their lips? Ayan. Madali na siya. A, B, C, or D? Process po, it's the water lost in plants. So it is actually involved in the water cycle as well, pero it's primarily for plants lang. Very good. The correct answer here is letter A, transpiration. So transpiration po, it's the phase change from liquid to gas, but it is only in plants. So the excess water coming from the plant will exit through the stomata. Ito yung mga opening in the leaf surface. The other options po, photosynthesis, again, I would like to reiterate, that's the food making process of the producers, primarily green plants. Fermentation, on the other hand, is the breakdown of organic molecules like glucose anaerobically. So for anaerobically, meaning to say without the presence of oxygen. So we can do fermentation in making beer. We can also use fermentation to prolong the shelf life of the foods. And lastly, for respiration, that's the exchange of gases. Primarily, ginagawa natin yan. We actually exhale carbon dioxide and inhale oxygen. So, I think it's already a wrap for us.